Hello, I'm Jackie Peterson Grace, Associate Textile Conservator, and I'm with Sarah Ludueña at the Colonial Williamsburg Foundation. Today, I will be sharing some considerations for displaying textiles. There are many ways to display textiles, from garments on mannequins to hanging quilts or framing needlework samplers. Textiles are light sensitive and can be forever changed by harmful display practices. Excessive light exposure causes fading and chemical deterioration, making the textile more fragile over time. Textiles should be exhibited under low light levels of 50 lux or less and rotated frequently. They should not be put on permanent display if possible. When preparing objects for display, ensure that materials close to or touching the object are archival or chemically inert. Textiles should be displayed within frames or in cases to protect them from dust accumulation and touching. If a textile must be exhibited on open display, it should be inspected frequently and gently cleaned with a variable speed vacuum to remove dust.
Hi, I'm Sarah Ludueña, the Marshall Steele Postgraduate Fellow in Textile Conservation at the Colonial Williamsburg Foundation. The condition of the textile plays a major role in deciding if or how it can be displayed. Careful examination will reveal issues like split or weakened seams, holes or stains that have become brittle, and other condition concerns to be mindful of. All of these observations should be recorded with written reports and photographs so damage can be monitored before and after the textile is displayed. Small textiles can be displayed flat or at a slight angle on a fabric-covered surface. More fragile textiles can be supported by stitching them to a fabric-covered board padded with a thin layer of needle-punch polyester felt. Use archival materials and wash fabric to remove residual chemicals or sizes. The type and placement of stitches should be carefully selected to support the textile. Conservators use fine beading or surgical needles to avoid making large holes, and threads that are fine but strong, like hair silk or polyester scala. Displaying textiles in a frame protects them from dust accumulation. Textiles may come to you framed with poor quality materials like brown cardboard. They may have been taped or glued to a support. These materials can degrade over time, and it's best to consult a conservator if you have questions. Before framing, a textile should be stitched to a solid support like fabric-covered mat board or blue board. Glass or acrylic glazing may be used. The glazing should not touch the textile to avoid putting pressure on its surface. Use an archival spacer or window mat between the glazing and the textile. A backing board should be placed behind the board that the textile is mounted on, and the frame package sealed with framer's tape. Before hanging the frame textile, always evaluate the structural stability of the frame and hanging hardware. A conservator or knowledgeable framer can help you decide if the textile should be framed and which materials should be used. Large, flat textiles like quilts and rugs that are in good condition are hung with Velcro or with a hanging sleeve hand-stitched to the back of the object. Avoid hanging textiles with methods that cause uneven tension, like rings, tabs, or pins. These can cause damage over time. Large textiles can be displayed on slant boards to help distribute their weight. The slant board can be covered in a show fabric with some tooth that will help grip the backside of the textile artifact. If displaying the textile against a painted surface, allow enough time for off-gassing and consider using an inert barrier layer like Mylar. To make a Velcro header, the soft side of the Velcro is machine-stitched to a strip of muslin or twill tape that's slightly wider than the Velcro. The header is pinned to the back of the textile, then hand-stitched to the object from the front. The stitches extend all the way through the object and should be hidden in the design or pattern of the textile. The hook side of the Velcro will need to be attached to a wall or slant board. Mounting historic garments on mannequins or dress forms requires specialized knowledge. Forms are tailored to the proportions of the garment to provide full support and illustrate the historic silhouette. The mannequin is altered by building up layers of polyester batting covered with cotton jersey. Historically accurate reproduction underpinnings are also critical to achieving the correct profile. This long mounting process ensures that the garment is well supported while it's on display. The process is strenuous for historic garments, and it is important to be mindful of how much the garment is being handled and manipulated.
Textiles are often incorporated into historic interiors like house museums. In these settings, environmental factors can be harder to control. It is important to closely monitor the objects on display and to implement regular cleaning schedules and inspections. Objects should be rotated rather than being on permanent display. When possible, display reproductions instead of accession textiles. We hope this video has provided useful information about textile display. A textile conservator can help with specific questions. To find a conservator in your area, visit virginiaconservationassociation.org or the American Institute for Conservation at culturalheritage.org.